Hey there, Sheryl here, mental toughness coach, published author, and I guess now I can say best-selling author. So that's pretty exciting. I wanted to check in with you on this fine Wednesday morning here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And today I want to talk about something. The ongoing theme for March is Mindset Month. And I'm going to be sharing tips, tools, and habits, some of which I've been discussing in my Mental Toughness Monthly Roundtable. And I wanted to share some tidbits here to see if they'll help you as well, because there's something that I want you to understand. If you want to have more progress quicker, which total transparency, I of course want to have that too. So I want to know if it's important to you to have more progress quicker. And I also want to know what are some of your struggles. In other words, if you're watching this or you're following me, and I appreciate that so much, by the way, I know that you're ambitious, but sometimes our progress isn't as quick as we would like, or we feel like we're working really hard and we're not seeing the results that we want and deserve. So I'm going to share what I call tiny triumph today. It's one little thing that you can start doing differently, and it is a tool that world-class athletes use. I've been teaching this over the last 25 years. It's what Olympians use so they can accelerate their progress, get better quicker, and also perform better in those moments that matter. So I would really love to know, what is one thing that you're really struggling with right now, because I can incorporate this into this live. And if you are watching live, amazing. If you're not watching live, that's totally fine too. I do definitely want you to post your questions, your concerns, and if anything is confusing, I want to hear from you, because I will customize this content for you. But today we're going to be talking about one way to have more progress, excuse me, quicker. And it is a tool that world-class athletes use. And I want to be very clear that these tools are not reserved for the elite few. A lot of times, and I catch myself still doing it, we tend to put other people up on pedestals and think, well, that's them and it's not me. Here's the thing. I'm here to tell you that you are enough. They're not people who have achieved any great level of success. There's similarities and differences between them and us. And what has happened is it's consistency. They surround themselves by a team of people who will support them and push them and help them and encourage them. So their team is very important. And the main thing is that two things. They believe that what they want is absolutely possible. And also they proceed as if success is inevitable, which is my favorite quote ever. And I wish I could take credit, but it's unknown who wrote it. It's not mine. So stick with me today, because this is on Wednesday mornings, we're talking about one tiny triumph that you can do. And so what is it? We're going to be talking about imagery training. Now, in my monthly subscription, which just met last night, it's the first Tuesday of the month at 5 p.m. Pacific time, we went deep into this topic. And so people were getting a really good idea how world-class performers start thinking and how they actually bring what they want to life. And so the one tiny triumph that we're going to talk about today in regards to imagery training has to do with two things that I want you to start doing. One is be very mindful of what you think about at night. World-class performers think in vivid detail, especially before bed, what they want and what that finish line looks like. So for example, I wrote in my book under this chapter on imagery training that there is a judo athlete, and there's also an example of an Olympic swimmer, but a lot of them do this. Before a world-class athlete or an Olympian gets to the Olympics, they've been there a million times in their mind. They think about, what would it feel like walking out to compete? What does it feel like if you're a swimmer getting into the pool? How warm is the water? How cool is it? What does it feel like on your skin? What does it sound like when the gun goes off? You get the idea, very vivid details. So the universe really responds to vivid detail. In addition, they talk about what it feels like to stand on the podium, to hear the crowd, who's in the crowd, even down to the detail. When they bend down, what does it feel like when the gold medal, because no one wants a silver medal, right? The gold medal, what does it feel like? What is the weight on their neck? What do the flowers feel like that they hand them? And what does it feel like to hold them up in the air? So I'm giving you this example because what usually happens for most people is not only do we not know how to do this, we do the opposite and we tend to catastrophize. So for example, if we're having a rough spot in our business, let's say there's a low, and that happens sometimes, or maybe you are, maybe you are employed and you have a job and you're going through kind of a rough patch there, or you're searching for a job, or maybe you're trying to get fit or what have you, and you have a setback. What happens is, especially before bed, our default tends to be that how bad it's going to turn out. So in other words, oh, I'm so frustrated with myself. I can never get to the gym, and gosh, I'm just so out of shape. Or my business is struggling right now. I've lost a couple clients. How am I ever going to get myself out of this? And so we tend to think this way before we go to bed, and it has the same effect as thinking in a positive way. But what happens is it locks in the negativity, because whatever we think about consciously before we go to bed, we think about it unconsciously, and we actually lock it in the and then in the morning we have a heightened level of awareness. So if you go to bed thinking that you are not fit person, you're very out of shape, and it's just you're really frustrated, then what does that person do? That person does not go to the gym. That person eats donuts that are at work, and that person just does things that are not healthy, because subconsciously that's who you have identified with, and that's who you have created for yourself. So when it comes to your business, if you go to bed thinking that my business is struggling, or I can't find these clients, or what is happening and it's just so hard, you wake up thinking that it's hard. You wake up being defeated. You wake up not looking and having your eyes wide open. Your vision is very narrow to the opportunities that are out there for you, and it really also puts out the flame that's in here. It slows down motivation. It slows down creativity. It does all sorts of different things. So you're probably harnessing the power of imagery training, but you're probably not using it to your advantage. So what is the tiny thing? This is a big topic. It's an entire chapter in my book, but what is the tiny thing that you can start doing right now when you get off this live? And I know some of the people watching this, you have college athletes, and we're also, we have kids, so we want to be a role model for them, but also we have important things in our life that are really important to our Olympics. So this is what I want you to start doing. This is going to be your tiny triumph, and please, I encourage you to share it with your family, to talk about it, and because it can really make a huge shift in your life. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to think in the evening before you go to bed, as part of your evening routine, to think about what is the most important thing that you want in your life. Like I said, it could have to do with your fitness. It could have to do with your next level ambition in your career. It could have to do with strengthening a relationship. So I want you to think about that, what that is. It could be a meeting that you're going to have. It could be a strategy session when you're going to try and engage a new client. It could be anything. But I want you to think about how you want it to go. In other words, how would it feel with you receiving that gold medal? In other words, how would that conversation turn out? How would it feel to get to the gym, to go through the class, and to be proud when you're done? And how strong would you feel? I want you to be as vivid as possible, and literally you can do this in 90 seconds. Walk yourself through this and ask yourself, how do I want this situation to turn out? And really create that in your mind. And then there's a second step to this. After you think about it, I want you to really commit to taking action and also to setting yourself up for success. So if it has to do with getting to the gym in the next morning, for example, I want you to think about, okay, I'm going to call a couple girlfriends or boyfriends of mine, and I'm going to rope them in to doing it with me. I'm going to get my water and all my clothes ready. I'm going to set yourself up for success. I'm going to get rid of here. I have an example for you. A good friend of mine, Joy Upshaw, she's an amazing masters track athlete, world record holder. She's in huge training mode right now because she's heading over to Europe for a big race. She went, cleared out her entire house of junk food because she cannot have it in her body. Why would you have that temptation? So let's get very vivid about what you want. Think about it at night. That's the first thing. The second thing is set yourself up for success. If it has to do with work and you're a little befuddled about how to get to that next level of work, who can you call? Who can you get help from? So set yourself up for success that way and commit and block into your calendar, what will you do? So if it has to do with fitness, block it in that you're going to go for a 10-minute walk. Go ahead and book your session at Orange Theory or whatever your thing is. If it has to do with work, think about how you want it to turn out the night before. Set yourself up for success by making the process as easy as possible, clearing out the obstacles, but also setting up ways that you can be most successful, and then block it into your calendar. And finally, this is part of blocking in your calendar. I want you to raise the necessity on this. So when I wrote my book, for example, I wrote 2 hours a day, 6 days a week for 9 months. Then I literally gave birth to a book. But anyways, I don't even know how I did it, honestly, right now. I have no idea. But what I did is, in my mind, I thought I must do this every 2 hours, because every day that I don't do it, I am letting someone down, because this is content that I want to put out into the world. And there's someone, this is what I told myself, there's someone in the world that's struggling unnecessarily because they don't have these tools. And so I set myself up for success. I put a note on my door, do not bother me unless you're bleeding or the house is burning down, which I'm kind of half kidding. I blocked off my digital calendar for that time. I put my entire family, all my clients on notice. I set up that environment. And also the night before, this is what I'm asking you to do. I thought about, what does it feel like to sit down and write for 2 hours? How will I feel when I am done? What will those words look like? How many words are they? How impactful are they? And if someone read them, what would they say? So walk yourself through this. So I want to make sure I'm throwing a lot of content at you, and I want to know if you have any questions. I also want to know, what is one thing that's important to you right now, and what has been your struggle? Because here's the thing, we all have struggles. I do not skip through my day and get everything done and feel like the day was absolutely perfect. I have struggles in a lot of different areas. I'm not necessarily the best business person. I hired a business strategist. So I'm totally empathetic to writing those big fat coaching checks. So think about, what is one thing that's important to you right now? And also, where do you need help? You know, I want to know, because I'm going to customize this content for you. This entire month is Mental Toughness Month. It is Mindset Month. So we're going to get your mind in order to lay the foundation for your next level success. Today, we were talking about Imagery Training, which is an advanced tool that world-class performers use to accelerate their progress. It's not reserved for the elite few. It's something that we can do as well too. We're also talking about these tiny triumphs that you can do today, and this is just a small excerpt from what I went over in my Mental Toughness Monthly subscription program, which is the first Tuesday of the month. We just had it last night. If you are interested in that, I will do my best to put the link in here. We went deep on imagery training. Here, I just want to leave you with this one thing. I want you to think about, what is most important to you right now. Think about how you want it to turn out. Save 90 seconds for yourself before you go to bed and think about how you want it to turn out in the most vivid and visceral way possible, as if it's already happened, as if it's already done, and you are so happy and proud. So think about that. Then the second step to that is clear your path for success. If it happens to do, like I mentioned with going to the gym, set up your stuff the night before, announce to people that you're going, rope someone else into going with you, what have you. If it has to do with your business or your job, then schedule an appointment with someone to help you out. Make sure that you're well rested, or what have you. If you're watching your weight, get all the junk out of your house. Clear the path Don't make this any more difficult than it needs to be. And then finally, this little tiny triumph that you have, block it into your calendar and raise a necessity for it. So if it has to do with your business, let's say you're like me, you have a coaching and speaking business. Let's say, I just am speaking a ton in March and April, but I'm looking at June and I'm like, I need to book that a little bit. I have a choice to freak out about it or commit to thinking about what would it be like and where do I want to speak in June and how can I make that happen and what can I commit to? What do I put in my calendar that I have control over to make it happen? And I block it in the calendar and raise a necessity for it. So this is one tiny thing that you can do, and that's being very vivid and visceral, thinking about how you want something to turn out, which is a shift to what our default is, and that is catastrophizing at night. And so I hope I've made it really clear why this is so important, because the universe pays attention to detail. You want to make sure you're feeding the universe and yourself the right detail. So I really want to keep hearing from you. I want to know what's important to you. I want to know what is the next most important thing for you, and also where do you need the most help. Post it here, because this entire month is Mindset Month, which means I'm going to be teaching world-class tips, tools, and habits, how you can think like the top 1%, get better quicker, and help you get to that next finish line. So I am here to make this content real for you. I appreciate you hanging tight with me. I hope you found this useful. Here's to you thinking about how you want something to turn out tonight, giving yourself the gift of 90 seconds. If you want to know about my Mental Toughness Monthly Mastery, please drop a note and just say that's me, and I will make sure to DM you with all of the information. Here's to you being amazing. Here's to you controlling your thoughts and emotions so you can control your reality and your next level of ambition and success. I'm cheering you on from San Francisco. Here's to you being amazing, and I look forward to seeing you next time.